Good afternoon, Coach.
Hi.
If you don't mind, we're going to go right to questions.
Perfect.
Thanks for the time, Coach. Thomas Costello, Langer and Holy Land. Both you and Ohio State's team, they both employ presses. Can you compare and contrast the differences between your press that you're bringing and the press that you've seen from Ohio State?
Yeah, I think it's very similar type of systems of you want to apply pressure and you want to play in transition. I think theirs is more of a zone look where they're matched up and ours is more of a man look.
And then also you have players who came over from last year whenever they played Ohio State over the last 2 seasons against them. How have you kind of leveraged any of their experience in preparing for playing a team like Ohio State?
Yeah, we always ask. That's the first thing I'll always do going into playing an opponent is ask what we know about that team and listen to what they say, whether they played them or watch them on TV.
I'm Jack Church with the Daily Beacon. How important is it to take momentum from that first tournament game, especially with how the regular season tournament went and then the 2-week layoff?
Yeah, I think it's important. It was a good step for our program. We were hitting shots, so it was good to see the ball go in, and hopefully we can do it again. I'm thankful for the day in between.
Hi, Kylie Anderson, Vol News. We noticed how loud the Ohio State crowd was against Montana State. How do you keep that energy that y'all felt last night into a crowd?
Yeah, we've talked about that. It's just going to be us. And we're very lucky and blessed to be a part of a program that has a good fan base, a fan base that travels, but we're definitely on the road. And so making sure that we keep our bench energy up, our huddles tight, and we stay focused when Ohio State goes on a run, they will go on a run. It's going to be a game of runs. It's going to be streaky, and you can't get too high, too low. And when you have a fan base that's loud and passionate, you really have to lock in and just look at your teammates in the eye and play through those runs.
Cora Hall, Knox News Sentinel. Is there anything that you saw in the team last night in the way that they were playing or the way that they were interacting with each other that kind of gave you confidence about, where they are going into tomorrow's matchup?
I think we had fun. I think we were sharing the ball a little bit better than we have been. We had more assists. We played through mistakes a little bit better. Our next play mentality was an improvement of what we've had probably the back half of the season. But again, you got to see what it's like when you're in the middle of a run of another team and the crowd is into it, and see how tough you are then.
Steve Hellwagon with Bucknuts.com, 24/7 here in Columbus. You touched on the substitution pattern a little bit last night. Just want to ask about that. Is this something that you had developed, I guess, over time in your coaching career? And I guess the first important ingredient is you have to have 10 people who are capable of playing to be able to pull that off. But just your thought about how this team has taken to it and maybe how you developed it, I guess.
Yeah, I've always done it, and you have to have 10 or 11 players that you trust, and that's a big step for a coach, is to have everyone accept their roles and lean into their roles and trust them, put them on the floor every night.
Going to jump to Zoom. If there's anyone out there on Zoom that would like to ask a question, please use the raise hand function. Go ahead, Maria. You've got the mic.
Last night that the team followed the scouting report, and I know that's a pretty obvious thing to do, but you've indicated this team doesn't always do it. You had to re-present the scouting report at Florida. I assume your fifth-year seniors who were in here earlier, Jewel and Tess, are perfectly capable at this point of following one. But how do you get the team all on board to do so? Because it obviously makes such a big difference if all 5 on the floor are on the same page.
Yeah, I think you have to talk. You have to be locked in. It has to mean more. And again, it's going to be tough to do on the road, and it's always hard to do when you are playing 11 players. And because we scramble so much out of our press that you're not always matched up with who you should be matched up with. So you just have to know actions, how to guard actions. We're late in the year. We have 1 day prep going into this game. We're not really going to be able to learn new habits. So you have to rely on the way we've guarded actions all year.
Thank you, Maria. Thomas?
How have you seen over the final stretch of the regular season where there were some tough results, how have you seen the team kind of come together and bond now and have that result that you had last night that was just kind of a lopsided win for you all?
Yeah, I think it's great, but you can't have a win like that and see a win like that and pat yourself on the back and think it's done. Maybe that's a mistake we made earlier. That we have to continue to work on our team chemistry. We have to continue to work hard when the shots are not falling. We have to continue to play through things. I think that's what's going to take to be successful in March. And so, yeah, we've done it once, but we have to do it again.
This team was kind of on like that upward trajectory of building, kind of hit that stretch at the end of the season last night, looking much more like you kind of picked up where you left off before that. Just how confident are you that this team is kind of where they need to be right now, and what kind of helped them get right back to that?
I'm confident that our energy is better. I'm confident that our focus is better. I think that we have a better mindset coming into this game. But again, kind of like I just said, I'm not going to be overly confident and think that I can take my foot off the gas as a coach just walking into this opponent that, okay, we're back to where we used to be. We have to continue to work through things.
Yeah, Coach, I want to ask about Ohio State. They had a couple of the better players in the Big Ten this year with Cody McMahon, who's been a real good contributor for 3 years, and then Jelani Cambridge, the freshman. Just your thoughts maybe about both those players and how they like to attack opponents. And you probably don't want to give away the scouting report, but just the things you guys need to do to kind of keep them under wraps.
Yeah, you got to keep them in front of you. It's a stacked roster. We got to play team defense. I don't think we're going to be able to guard one-on-one in those positions. So just making sure that we're all locked in, we're all playing hard together. We're not letting them have easy shots. I think that's one thing we've talked about is we can't give them anything wide open. And sometimes in our defense we'll do that. We'll just stand there and look and hope the other team misses. And you can't do that at this point in the year.
Your team has done well in this season against other defensive-minded teams. Just why do you think that was, and how do you feel like that will help you tomorrow?
Yeah, I don't necessarily know that that applies for this game. I think the slower teams, the teams that spend the majority of their time sitting down in the half court and guarding, don't spend as much time on offense, and so it's a little bit better for us. I think this team can go in transition, so it's not necessarily a matchup that I love.
Players have talked about how they really feed energy off of the other team losing their energy, and how whenever you're seeing shots missed that they're getting more hyped up for the game, and that's when you see the runs like second quarter last night. Ohio State is a team that's really well conditioned too. What do you tell the team whenever maybe the other side isn't getting as tired as they're expecting them to be at certain points of the game?
That's when you have to sit down and get stops. You actually have to play defense. You can't just hope. That's kind of what I just said. You can't just look at them and just hope that the ball doesn't go in. You actually have to guard now. And so that's just something we're going to have to work on is get the stop. And I think stops for us are going to be really important because that way maybe they're not going to be as quick to get in their pressure. So we'll have to sit down and actually guard.
With the sitting down and actually guarding, you talked about how over the 2-week break you worked a lot on the half-court defense. What do you like about that, and what still needs to change going into this game tomorrow?
I thought we played with a sense of urgency yesterday in the half court. I thought even when we had a big lead, something we have done all year is just kind of stop guarding just because we saw a 20-point win. And we continued to sit down and guard till the final minute. And that was a really big improvement for us. And again, it's just going to be very similar, a really good offensive-minded team. They run really good actions. They are a very deep roster. They have great players. And so just having the discipline to sit down and guard.
We're going to slide over to the Zoom again. Maria, do you have a question?
Yes, Coach, I know motivation, win or go home. I mean, that's in place already. But the tip times in the tournament can be anywhere from noon to 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. What's your approach to a team in a big game like this waiting all day to play? How do you sort of manage that? Because teams get restless sometimes.
Yeah, I think the only thing that helps us is that we just did it. We just had the exact same time slot. So our game day is going to be pretty much identical to what we just did. So that's in our favor. And we watch a little more film. We take a little more time to stretch. We try to keep them in and out of their hotel rooms. We try to keep the energy high. But again, if you're not locked in and you get restless in March, then it's probably going to be a quick March for you.
Coral, do you have the mic? Yeah, okay.
Avery Strickland's been getting in the rotation, and especially last night had some really good minutes for you. Just like, what have you liked about what she's given the team, and what did she kind of show you over the last 2 weeks to kind of earn those minutes?
Yeah, she has consistently worked all year. She's always in the gym extra. So she'll work hard in practice, but she'll always be in the gym extra. And she just is kind of a little spark for us. She goes out there, she runs around, she plays hard. She doesn't really necessarily do anything that hurts us. She doesn't take bad shots. She's a selfless player. And you can put her on the floor knowing she's going to give you everything she has.
Anything else for Coach Caldwell? Seeing none. Coach, thank you very much. Have a good practice.
Thank you.